Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Why a Job Board is Essential for Your Economic Development Organization. My name is Ted Dacko, and I'll serve as your host today. And I'm joined by Phil Santer, who's SVP of Ann Arbor Spark. Hello,
Hi.
Phil. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Tell me a little bit about Ann Arbor Spark for those who might be outside of the state of Michigan.
Sure. And hello to everyone on the webinar. Spark is a public-private organization. We started about 12 years ago. We are what I would say a true public-private organization. If you look at our funding sources, we're about 50-50 between our private sector investors and our public investors. And we are responsible for a host of different roles within the organization. We're somewhat unique in that we have a really important focus and strong focus on our entrepreneurship and our sort of startup development. And then we also have a really strong sort of more traditional economic development function, which is actually what my team works on. And what's unique, I think, about the organization is that from the start, we've really had a focus really since the beginning on sort of talent and talent development, talent acquisition, talent recruitment. That's been a big sort of underlying component of our organization for many years.
And technology or not technology? Or?
Yeah, the key areas that we focus on, at least from a vertical industry standpoint, have been technology, both on the software and I guess however you want to define technology. It's pretty broad in my opinion. We have a sort of R&D aspect of this. We have an engineering focus. We have a life science focus. And actually, I mean, to the perspective, you mentioned that we've had an existing job board really since the start of the organization. It was really because of a little bit of a crisis that occurred within the life science area. So this is going all the way back to 2007, before I actually joined the organization. But at that point in time, Pfizer was the largest private employer in the Ann Arbor region. And they announced in January of that year that they were going to close shop. So you had literally thousands of people that were going to be put out of work. And these were really important drivers for the community. I mean, these were very active parts of the community. So it was a pretty, it was a crisis time, really. And a host of different things occurred during that period of time. But one of those things that was determined is that there needed to be a centralized place for people to know about sort of knowledge worker positions that were available within the Ann Arbor area as people were trying to get reconnected into different opportunities that occurred right at that point in time. So this system was developed as part of sort of Spark's functionality. We were just a young organization at that point, very, very new. And this was kind of built into the overall website itself. So it kind of emerged as it went. But what occurred from that point in time is that it was built from the ground up in 2007. And over time, it has been a huge driver for our website, but it hadn't seen the investment that it needed to in terms of being redeveloped. And, you know, technology changes over time, and we were basically left behind in terms of the aesthetic, in terms of the different features, in terms of the different qualities that we needed from a job board. And to your point, Ted, it was, I think, affecting the brand awareness for the organization, because we were trying to support growing technology companies, of which there are several within the Ann Arbor area. And if we weren't able to match what their expectations were, they weren't going to use us. And in fact, there were some major employers that were growing that weren't utilizing it. So it created a kind of an important point for us to be able to reconsider, hey, we've got this function, we know it's really important, and we're not seeing the engagement that we need to have. What are our options?
So you had a build versus buy situation because you were committed to having one. It was a question of how you were going to support that function.
Exactly.
Okay. And we'll ask about why TrueJob in just a second.
Sure.
But I have a question before that. 50% of your traffic to your website comes from the job board. If your marketing function measured on website traffic, is this important to them?
Absolutely. So that's, I mean, our marketing team, they measure a number of different things, and that's obviously changed from their metrics over time. But a key part of that is website traffic, which we've just seen significantly grow over time. And obviously there's different areas that are sort of changing and growing. Video has obviously seen a huge increase in marketing across everywhere, including EDOs. But yeah, absolutely, they track and are measured based on web traffic.
So what I hear you saying, at least from your perspective, and you know, I don't want to put words in your mouth or in the mouth of the people on the phone, but you seem to be implying that a job board is a key requirement for an economic development organization. It's a mission critical kind of a thing for an ADO.
I mean, it has been for us, and I think it's one of these areas as I sort of look across the industry, and I think about it from the different categories of folks that are engaged in workforce development, and that's been a traditional function that's trying to connect the dots there. But then increasingly, as everyone has low unemployment rates, and talent attraction, talent development, talent acquisition is so critical to success of the business community. I've seen it become a really critical point as a tactical and impactful tool that you can have as an EDO to be able to demonstrate value to your employers, to your stakeholders, and it's actionable, right? So when we think about what are areas that we want to invest our time or resources in, we want something that is going to be impactful, but is also actionable. And in my mind, it's a clear opportunity for that, right? It definitely covers both of those bases.
Now, you hinted at this before. I just want to explore this a little bit more. There are actually two parts of Spark, one for the larger organizations and one for the smaller. Are you seeing impact in both of those areas for the small companies as well as some of your bigger corporate customers? Yeah,
so the job board has traditionally been a place where you have a centralized place for the range of organizations. So we have very small companies that are posting positions, and then we have the largest employer in the region, which is the University of Michigan, also posting. So we need a solution that is going to be able to cover the entire gamut. Okay, very good. I think I heard Mike hint about the fact that your maintenance, or the person who runs the job board in your organization is the administrative assistant to the CEO of the ADO. Yep.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So it did not take, did she have specific computer skills, or are her skills just standard skills that you would expect from any knowledge work?
She's a great asset, and knows the organization well, but we wanted to, and her function has really just been over time to be able to have that. But so it's not been a whole lot of, not much training really involved in all that.
You didn't need an IT department to put this in or to maintain.
No.
Okay.
But I want to point out that, because I think, and Mike mentioned this earlier, but the curation I think is really important on this, and it was important for us. One of the areas that we've seen, and I'm sure if you guys are talking with employers or people or job seekers that use things like Indeed, there's a lot of noise in the system is how I would put it. So there's frankly a lot of junk that's out there. And one of the areas that we know and that we've developed, I think, with the fact that we have this job board, is that we want that be a place where you have curated quality jobs. And you need someone that, in our perspective, you have to have a little bit of a gatekeeper to be able to say, yes, this is in our region, or yes, this is a job where we know that we're going to be able to get some quality folks out. And so that was a really critical part of our process as well.
All right. So maybe you think you've answered at least part of this question, but I'll ask it. So why TrueJob? Why did you use TrueJob as opposed to something else, or build it yourself?
So when we looked at what really our options were, to your point, I think we decided that we probably weren't, we didn't want to build our own. We thought that would have been too costly, too long, just maintaining it over time. We already had that experience. We had sort of built our own, right? Mm-hmm. We wanted a different solution. And we wanted something that was already thinking about these different things for us in terms of being able to sort of easily scrape the jobs. I think making it easier for employers to add their positions was really important and critical. Making sure that the user experience from the job seeker side was in line with their expectations was really important. And then also providing us with the curation element, with the ability for it to be embedded into our website. There were just a number of things that were really critical for us, and it just made sense to partner with TrueJob on that.
Okay. So you made this decision. How long did it take to get it up and running and become live?
It was from an implementation, and if anyone on the phone has gone through an implementation of a technology product or really anything, you know how those things can be a struggle over time. It literally was one of the easiest implementations that we've had over time. We basically just sat down and we were really developing out how this was going to go. We'd never really seeded out sort of a part of our website in this way, and it was just really straightforward to be able to go through and really within a matter of, I guess it was not even months really, to be able to kind of get it implemented. And it was really quick.
Mike, do you remember how long it took?
Probably weeks.
Yeah, probably weeks.
Okay, very good. How'd you promote this? How did you get your corporate customers and job seekers into the process?
So we had done a couple things. One, especially as we were kind of implementing this through, we had actually set up a series with the help of TrueJob to do some focus groups for the employers so that we had feedback in terms of, hey, this is what we're planning on doing. So we brought in the sort of the highest users or the most frequent users of our current job portal and said, yeah, we understand you guys, there's some changes that we need to have here. Here's a solution that we're thinking about. And then they gave us feedback as we were going through that process. And then we just have our marketing department is really strong and engaged, especially on the social media side. We've done things like Job of the Day where we were sort of highlighting different positions. We have a talent newsletter that has thousands of people that are sort of raising their hands saying they're interested in working in the community, and we kind of build out that messaging over time. And so it's just been a critical part of the organization to be able to have those things in place, and also to be able to develop that out as a tool that our business community can tap into. So when we have an expansion or attraction place, you can say, and by the way, you can apply for jobs at this central place here. So that's a really critical element of that. And then we've also used it when we're doing other programming aspects. And what I mean by that is, so in Ann Arbor, we do a couple different events each year. They're focused on the technology community. Just before Thanksgiving, and I think this happens in other places, but we did something called Tech Homecoming, where you just invite people in that are coming back into the region for the holidays, say, hey, why don't you consider careers in technology or what have you. And it's great to be able to have a centralized place where you can ask everyone to be able to put their jobs that they have. And so when they come back into town, you're like, yep, here's all the things that are going on. Here's one centralized place of technology jobs that are available in Ann Arbor. And you could do the same thing for Manufacturing Day or for other programming that you guys might have in your own community. So we think that's really important.
And I think I remember that you announced this also at your annual meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll speak a little bit on the, maybe from the fundraising element on that, because okay. I think it's really important that we pay attention to it. I think and this is my perspective from the overall economic development industry, you have to be able to pay attention to this right now. Otherwise, you're not going to continue to be relevant in terms of what the needs of the business community are right now. And it's great to be able to have a tactical tool from a fundraising element. I don't know everyone that's on the phone right now, but I just got back from economics or whatever was going on this week in New Orleans, and the conversation was coming up about fundraising. Kate McEnroe, who's a site selector and consultant that some of you may know, was talking about sort of what the changes are from a fundraising aspect from an EDO perspective, and she was saying you're going to have to be able to demonstrate tactical and very tactical and almost granular level things that are going to be able to provide value to your funders. And I think the job board is a critical part of that, because you can actually say, hey, why don't you come in and fund us to be able to help, or do this, or brand it from brand our job board or what have you. And ourselves, we have examples of that where we were going through some fundraising with some of our private sector funders, and there was one in particular that wanted to fund our job board, and that was a critical part of our sort of investment process, and they're an important stakeholder in all of this.
Wow, that's outstanding. What metrics has the most interest to you?
Metrics are really, really important. The ones that I think are most critical from my perspective, and I'm thinking about who the different stakeholders are that we want to get this back to. Geographic focus is really critical. So when if we're going, because we're a regional organization, we cover 2 counties in Michigan. It's great to be able to demonstrate or provide metrics to a local community in terms of the different employers that are utilizing the job portal, the job board. So that's a really critical element, is the geographic focus. The other one is to the business themselves, to be able to say, here's how many people are looking at your posting. Here's how it compares to some of the other postings that we've got. Here are the people that have clicked apply on that, because then you can actually demonstrate some particular impact that their posting might be having through our job board. So I think those are a couple critical ones.
And I think I heard you mention at one point in time, even down to the community level, how
Yeah,
many jobs
absolutely.
in a given community within a county.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And your CEO is on board with this?
Yeah, completely. It's I think the entire organization recognizes how important it is to be able to talk about the talent, not only the talent you have in your region, but also to be able to say, hey, here's different things that are that you can tap into as well. So, and just another example of that. So I'm obviously the University of Michigan is a major employer in our area, and they have, like many other major universities, have a dual career office where they're working with the spouses or partners of people that they are recruiting into their organization. And we're a critical partner of this, and really the job board has become a critical part of that as well, because then you can provide to the spouse or partner of the folks that they're attracting, here's all the other things, and really also helps make the sell for folks if they're considering coming into an area, that they're not going to get beached in a particular position. When the technology community in Ann Arbor was growing, there was, I think, initial concern that you were only going to come for one job, and then what were you going to do after that? And now it's a great demonstration point to say, not only, yeah, come for this job, but then you also have a career-long availability of options, and the job portal, the job board, is a place to be able to demonstrate that.
So how does this fit in with your workforce development system, or does it?
So for us, I mentioned that it's a curated aspect, and that this has been traditionally focused on kind of the knowledge level worker. And at least in our system, I guess more traditionally on the workforce development side, those have been entry level jobs or what have you. And so we think it's really complementary to that, where you can have a range of different options, and we know inherently where to point people to through the system.
Well, Phil, thank you very much. All EDOs say that talent is critical to their organization, but they really don't know what to do about it. Sounds like you've done something about it.
We are trying.
Okay, very good.